Volantis.
Good. If you don't mind my saying, I don't think you should return to Westeros. I'm not sure you'd be safe here.
Oh, I will return, dear Spider. One last time.
My lady.
I have to die in this strange country. Just like you.
The Fiery Hand is a group of slave soldiers employed as guards for the Red Temple of R'hllor in the free city of Volantis. The Fiery Hand contains 1,000 soldiers, never more, never less. Each of these soldiers is a slave to R'hllor. They wear ornate red armor over their orange robes and wield spears with points shaped as writhing flames. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell does this have to do with Game of Thrones Season 8? Well, as you just saw in that clip, Melisandre is headed to Volantis. Volantis is known for two things: the largest temple that is dedicated to the Lord of Light R'hllor, and also they have a cache of Dragonglass large enough to encase the entire city of Volantis in a wall of obsidian. In this video, we're going to discuss all of the exact reasons to why Melisandre has gone to Volantis and how that relates to Game of Thrones Season 8. This video will contain spoilers, so let's begin. Before we get started, please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 427. Also, make sure you're subscribed, and then make sure you have your notifications turned on all the way, so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a Game of Thrones video throughout this long nights. Before really delving into the theory, I kind of want to just go over real quickly, for those who aren't aware, of what exactly Dragonglass is and how it sort of came to its prominence in Westeros. So Dragonglass is actually a common name for a substance in Westeros known as obsidian. It is basically a form of volcanic glass. Along with Valyrian steel, it is one of the two known substances that have been confirmed to kill White Walkers and also whites. In Old Valyria, it was known as Zertos Persos, which literally translates to frozen fire. Now, I know my pronunciation was a little bit off, but it is known that Dragonglass was a very important tool to the Children of the Forest, who inhabited Westeros before the First Men moved over. The Children of the Forest used it to fashion weapons. A long forgotten secret is that the children actually created the first White Walker by using a piece of obsidian and stabbing it into the chest. We actually saw this ritual back in Game of Thrones Season 6. Now, this is sort of something that the show, yet one of many things that the show has sort of taken liberties with. In the novels, it's specifically noted that Dragonglass cannot kill whites, and Sam actually mentions this to Melisandre. He basically tells her, hey, like, look, this Dragonglass is effective against White Walkers, but you can't really kill whites with it. And she explains to him that, they're animated through using necromancy, and the way to take out the whites is through fire and steel. Not really sure why, but I guess, for simplicity's sake, making up words and shit. But basically, the show just wanted to make it easy to wrap our minds around. Dragonglass kills the bad guys. We need to get massive amounts of Dragonglass into the hands of our heroes. So aside from our heroes using Dragonglass to sort of destroy the armies of the dead, one other interesting property of Dragonglass that we sort of need to pull apart is the fact that there is multicolored Dragonglass in the books, and it's sort of been hinted at on the TV show. Now, in A Storm of Swords, Stannis is having a conversation with Samwell, and he mentions that there's tons of this shit, and this is not verbatim, but he basically tells Sam that there's tons of this stuff on Dragonstone, and this conversation actually happens in Season 5. But in the midst of that, he actually mentions that the majority of the glass at Dragonstone, or the Dragonglass at Dragonstone rather, is black, but some of them are purple, some of them are red, and some of them are even green. Now, just sort of jumping ahead a little bit here, but a lot of people think that the red ruby on Melisandre's neck is actually a piece of Dragonglass. Therefore, red Dragonglass may be used to sort of glamour someone into seeing something that's not actually there. Now, I know it's most likely a heavy subject for debate in the books, just like everything is, but for the TV show, I think we're supposed to believe that Melisandre's necklace is actually made out of Dragonstone. And when you look at it at an image right here, you can actually tell that this is clearly Dragonglass. So I think it's safe to say, for the most part, for the TV show, that red Dragonglass is to be used as something to deceive another person. So it's basically red Dragonglass equals an illusion. So that just leaves green and then purple. And we'll talk about those in a second, but let's stick to this red Dragonglass and how it's used for the power of illusion. Now, The one instance aside from Melisandre's necklace that we see red dragonglass is on the Cat's Paw Dagger. That's right, in the dragon bone handle of this Valyrian steel blade, there are multiple different ornaments of red dragonglass. Now, I've actually theorized before that this Cat's Paw Dagger could secretly be Dark Sister, which makes sense why it was given to Arya, because she is the Dark Sister of House Stark for right now. But I honestly think the fact that red dragonglass being used for illusion even relates more so to Arya being a faceless man. So if my analysis is correct here, Arya may be running around in Season 8 with a dagger that changes her face, maybe even allowing her to infiltrate places she wouldn't normally do. Now, I definitely don't think she's going to portray to be a White Walker and go into the camp and then take out the Night King that way like a lot of people have theorized, but she may use it to get inside Cersei's camp. Now, next up we have green and then purple dragonglass, and there's not too much contextual evidence for these two, so I'm just gonna kind of glaze over a few of my thoughts on what they may do. As far as green dragonglass, I play a lot of, MMORPG video games and just RPG video games in general that have to do with like fantasy and magic, Elder Scrolls Online being my favorite, but green is heavily associated in fantasy anyway with health and healing. Now, if you pay attention to Game of Thrones Season 7, when Sam is actually reading the book at the Citadel where we see this picture of the Cat's Paw Dagger in this book, well, when he turns the page, it's mentioned several different ideas about how Dragonglass may have some sort of healing capabilities. Now, like I said, there's not too much evidence of what these colors do in the books, and really the evidence for the red Dragonglass is mainly on the television show, but I think it's safe to say that these other two colors do something. I believe green Dragonglass is meant to heal. Now, on that page where it mentions how Dragonglass can sort of be used as a cure, is that it mentions that it may not work on the weak-minded individual, so save it for the extreme cases, and that's not verbatim there, but I took that as you either have to have dragon's blood or king's blood basically be of the royal nature, or maybe you just have to believe in it, because that's obviously a heavy theme in the television show and in the novels, is that if you believe something, you give it power. So maybe this green dragonglass only heals those who are followers of her lore or who believe in the special properties of dragonglass itself, i.e. a Targaryen. Now, last but not least, we have the purple dragonglass, and I don't even think this is going to be brought up on the show, so strap on your tinfoil caps for this one. It is a very somewhat controversial theory that each of these colors of dragonglass will represent each character in the endgame and represents the color of eyes they have. Now, the gist of this theory basically would involve, since the purple dragonglass is the color of Targaryen's eyes and Daenerys are purple, her eyes are purple in the books, that would mean that she has to have purple dragonglass in order to complete her destiny. Then you have Jon Snow being described as having very dark eyes in the book, some would even say black, so that would mean that he has to have regular dragonglass in his possession to... You see, I'm fumbling for the words, but that's how stupid this theory is. So anyway, getting back on track here to the main theory, I predict that Melisandre went to Volantis to do two things. One is to get the army of the fiery hand to come and join by her side, and then the second thing is to get Kinvara to convince a bunch of other priests to come with her, because as far as we know, the actual fire priest and priestesses are the only ones who can resurrect R'hllor's chosen who have fallen. Now, it should be mentioned that some of these Volantians are known to build houses out of dragonglass, so that's how much of abundance it is found in the free city of Volantis. So I would not be surprised if that is brought with them by the boatload, and maybe Jon and Daenerys build some sort of fort as a last stand against the Night King. That would be one of the safest places, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to backtrack a bit here. I did mention that red dragonglass, and I sort of hinted at the fact that all red dragonglass can sort of do this illusion magic and change the face or change the look and entirety of an individual. Well, who's to say that maybe it's only certain pieces of red dragonglass? So let's just say the red dragonglass in Arya's dagger is not necessarily imbued with the same magic that's in Melisandre's ruby, but there may be a chance for the two of them to sort of link up and have a meeting. Now, one thing that we need to pay attention from that clip that I showed you guys at the beginning of this video is that Melisandre mentions to Varys that she's going to die in a strange land. So if you take all into consideration about what I said about her bringing over the fiery hand and these army of red priestesses who are straight up legit going to resurrect some of R'hllor's chosen individuals, those being like Sandor, Daenerys, and maybe even Jon Snow again, why would she end up dying, or how would she end up dying? Surely Jon would not execute her after this. Arguably Davos would, but I don't think Jon would have it in his heart to execute someone who just helped them win the Great War, the War for the Long Nights. So that got my brain thinking. One of the ways that Melisandre will go out is by Arya. Now, not Arya straight up killing her, but maybe she gives Arya that same emerald or that same dragonglass that has kept her alive and has kept her safe from aging, maybe she gives it to Arya so that Arya completes some sort of last task, and in doing so, this kills Melisandre, because the magic that was keeping her from, living in her true form, which was this old woman, is gone. Now, you're probably like, dude, well, wait a second. She actually took this necklace, this red dragonglass necklace off before, back in season 6. She turned into an old woman, went to sleep, and then walked back up the next day and was completely fine. Well, you were right, and I honestly think that could be what was happening. So maybe she removes it at nighttime when she feels safe and she knows that no one's going to come in and barge her. I don't think that's exactly what was happening. We do know that the only way that Thoros was able to resurrect Beric the first time in the novels was after he had completely given up faith in R'hllor, and he just kind of said, fuck it, and then said a prayer, and then Beric was brought back. So in my opinion, if Melisandre's the one who resurrected Jon Snow, Melisandre was basically pulling off that necklace to die in those moments. The only thing that made her put it back on and want to live again was saving Jon Snow. So the reason why this video is called The Theory That Everyone Missed is because I theorize that Melisandre, like everyone else, will go over to Volantis, get the army of the Fiery Hand, get a bunch of red priests to come back and help her, but the part that everyone missed is the fact that Melisandre's red dragonglass is illusion magic, and she's going to either give that same magic to Arya to allow her to complete a final task, or give Arya the actual red dragonglass itself so that she can go off and complete this mission. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 427. Make sure you're subscribed, and then make sure you have your notifications turned on so that way you get alerted every single time I drop a Game of Thrones video throughout this long night. I also want to take the time to say that I recently have gotten permanently inked for my love of the Song of Ice and Fire and everything Game of Thrones related. As you can see from this image right here, I got a Stark direwolf and a dragon silhouette representing House Stark and House Targaryen. These are the first two of many more to come. So like I said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. Without you all's love and support, I would not be able to make these videos. And I also want to thank every single person watching this right now. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.